Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our show brought to you by Tennova Healthcare. September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. This is a disease that I didn't expect to deal with, but I have twice. Once when I had it, and once with my father. We both turned to Tennova, and the personal care we got from everyone associated with Tennova. I'm talking about people that meet you at the parking garage to the people who actually treat you. The personal care is just unmatched. It's stabilizing, it's calming, it's reassuring, it's caring. And let me tell you, when you are lined up for a scary battle against cancer, that means so much, so much. Tennova Healthcare and Tennova's Men's Health Center of Excellence is where you should turn if you have issues involving the prostate. Prostate Cancer Awareness Month coming up. That's why we're talking about this right now. We have right here from Tennessee Urology Associates, Dr. Chris Ramsey, who saved my life. Good to have you here. We wouldn't be doing the show without you today, so always good to have you here. And then next to you, former Vol, Mike Stoll, who of course, VFL Mike Stoll, who for years sold the robotic equipment used in the treatment of prostate cancer. And Mike, being a friend of mine when I was needing a good doctor, having worked with all the doctors, he gave me a list, and top of that list is this guy right here. So thanks to both you guys for being here. Before we get into it, I want to put up some fast stats, just some generic stats for guys out there. It is the most common cancer among men, prostate cancer is. In terms of new cases each year, breast cancer has the most, then lung cancer. Number 3, popular cancer, for lack of a better word, prostate cancer. That's the one that pops up most often behind breast and lung cancer. 1 in 7 men, and some studies say 1 in 6, but 1 in 7 men, 14 out of 100, will be diagnosed with prostate cancer at some point in their life. But here's the positive. Only 3 out of 100 will die from prostate cancer. 98.9%, according to the American Cancer Society, 98.9% of men will live 5 or more years after diagnosis. More than 2 million survivors in the U.S. today alone, which tells you, yes, it's a serious disease that you need to take seriously, but you can beat this disease. You can fight this disease. The risk factors for those of you out there: do you have a family history of prostate cancer? Are you over the age of 50? African Americans, that stat about 1 in 7 men, it's more like 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 African American men. Gentlemen, let me turn it over to you. I was 40 when my internist, Dr. Peter Ochoa, spotted something in a test and said, humor me, let's do a PSA. That was unusual. That guy saved my life, you saved my life, but that was unusual at 40. At what point do folks need to start thinking about, and no one wants the rectal exam, but right, what time do you need to start thinking about rectal exams and PSA test, which is just a blood test?
Well, you were really fortunate because you didn't have a family history of prostate cancer at that time.
Yeah.
Your dad ended up having a family history because you had it.
He had a family fast forward.
Right, yeah. But so you were very, very fortunate that the PSA was done at 40, because that's not really our recommendation if you don't have a family history. So if you have a family history of prostate cancer, you should get it at 40. If you're a black man, you should get your PSA screening, rectal exams when you're 40. Typically, at least when you're 50 years old, you want to get the screening done, but it's something that is very important. Prostate cancer is very slow growing. That's why 98% of people are still alive at 5 years. Even if you did nothing at 5 years, most men would still be alive. But it continues to grow slowly and can potentially cause problems after 10 years. If you're younger, you really want to catch it early and get it treated early.
Mike, you know, a lot of guys are squeamish about this stuff. It's 10 seconds of discomfort for one test, and you've joked with me before. It's not your favorite part of the day either in administering those exams, but it's 10 seconds of discomfort. You've got an opportunity to save your life. So there's no, you know, macho guys. We've had athletes on here who've had it and talked about their stories. We've had coaches on here who've talked about it, other sports figures on here who've joined us on the show to talk about it. There's nothing squeamish or unmacho about taking care of yourself and making sure and doing your checks.
Well, and you mentioned before that the statistics show that this is a very slow growing cancer. It is not something that spreads rapidly. So if you detect it early, your opportunity to remove it and get the cancer taken care of is very good, because if you ignore it and then it spreads out, that's when it gets really bad, and that's when you can have a lot of problems, and you can have comorbidities associated with that will increase that. So, you know, right now I go in and I get you know, physicals, encouraging my wife as much as I possibly can, even though we drag our feet as men. But I know my PSA from when I was 40. I know what my PSA line number was. I didn't have a DRE, but I did have my PSA. So I'm having a baseline of where I'm at. If it spikes, then I know. And so, guys, when you do it, you go through physical, get it done, because if you turn your shoulder to it and ignore it, it's going to elevate and increase, and then it's going to make things like he can't even do anything to help it because it's going to be so far advanced, you can't get help.
And treatments are so much more advanced than they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that has moved the ball forward. But back to the macho thing for a second. One thing, one part of being a guy is taking care of your family, taking care of those around you. Well, making sure you're there to take care of those around you is part of that. So, got to take this seriously. I was lucky. I've got friends like this. Chris Ramsey's the guy I recommend. There are other good urologists. What I want you to do is I want you to get this checked and pay attention to it. 50 plus, 55 plus, some say for the PSAs. If you got the family history, do it at 40 plus. But take care of it. And I want to say thanks. So many people watch this segment every year. We have been told there are 3 people that I know of that emailed to say wouldn't have been tested if not for this show, found cancer, beat cancer because of this show. These guys doing this, talking about this every year, do us a favor. For them to come out and talk about it, you owe them to go out and take care of yourself. So take this seriously.
And thank you for bringing out the awareness too.
Well, thank you. I will see you at my next checkup. I'll see you in a later segment. Come on back on the Sports Source. We got tons of Vol football to talk about. We dive in next.